I've heard your cries and worries, and yes, this is the final episode of the last 2 episodes I made on my manager that was on the Devil's Hub. So let's get this story started. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support on this series of videos. Honestly, I never thought I'd be making a full-on 3-episode series or parts on YouTube, especially for full stories. But let's just get this final video done and done with. But before I do, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Seriously, 1,000 likes and I'll start another crazy series like this one. And on top of that, make sure you guys also do show love and support on Twitch. I'm currently live as we speak, probably talking about more crazy stories that will eventually show up on this channel. So link in the description down below for that one. Other than that, let's finish this insane story. What is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba and welcome back to another crazy story. So like I said earlier, if you guys haven't seen the last 2 episodes, you guys probably should make a playlist on it down below as you guys are watching this. So there you go. I made a playlist. But anyways, going on. This is the final episode of the manager story that was on the Devil's Hub. And it all starts off like this. I remember after ignoring so many calls from my manager to the point where I never showed up to that cafe again for work. One day randomly at my doorstep at home, I remember my mom ended up bringing an envelope downstairs that said to Arash Baba Moini. If you guys don't know, my full name is actually Arash Baba Moini. It's not just Bubba. Bubba's my legal middle name. Yes, I know it's weird, but there's a story for that. And you know, that's a story for another day. But going on, I remember she hands me this envelope and I remember I opened it right in front of her. When I opened it, I saw it was my last paycheck, but not only my last paycheck from the cafe, there was also a note with it. I remember I opened the note and I remember it was written in a really weird way. It was written with nice handwriting saying, to Arash Baba Moini. Hey, I just wanted to make sure you get your final paycheck for work. I apologize what happened at my house. I did not expect my mother to be that way. And I just wanted to say I really enjoyed your company. You were amazing. You were awesome. And honestly, I apologize for whatever happened. And I hope someday I could see you soon. If so, here's my time and address for when you can next see me. And she put down a place that was like 10 minutes away from the cafe and that she wanted to see me. Now at that point, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know, her daughter wasn't that bad. Hell, her daughter was my friend when I worked at the cafe. If you guys do remember back at the, you know, first episode of this storyline. So I said, you know what? Sure. Like, might as well just go talk to her and, you know, clear things up with her. It's that closure that she wanted. And I'm willing to give that closure because I am an understanding person, guys. Okay. I'm not just crazy. So I remember when that day came around, I remember I ended up getting my things and I ended up driving over there and I ended up seeing her. I ended up seeing her daughter, funny enough, sitting at a park bench. So when I walked up to her and I sat down at the park bench and I'm like, hey, like, are you feeling all right? She looks at me and she starts crying. She's like, hey, like, I need to be brutally honest with you about something. I looked at her and I said, what? And she tells me something that I did not want to know. She said, well, remember that time when me and you did the Devil's Tango and you were like in handcuffs? I end up looking at her, I'm like, yeah, I remember that day very clearly. That's why I'm here right now. She told me, well, like, my mom actually has the footage. I end up looking at her, I'm like, what? Are you serious right now? She ends up looking at me, she's like, yeah, and like, my mom has like something to request from you. So at that point, I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that instead of wanting closure and being a nice person, you wanted me to come all the way down here so your mom could blackmail me? So your mom that is on the Devil's Hub could blackmail me? Are you serious right now? She ends up like, you know, being all weird and she's like, yeah, like, I don't know what else to do and stuff. So like, honestly, like, my mom wanted me to hand you this note. So her daughter ends up handing me this note and ends up walking away. And I remember when she walked away, she went into this other guy's car, which apparently was her boyfriend now, which was absolutely absurd. And then I remember I opened the note and said, hey, big boy, I know it was a hard way to reach you to get this, but honestly, I want you to come visit me at my house at this time specifically. She put a time in for like 10:30 at night. 10:30 at night. Reminder, guys, I was still a teen. I was still a young person, bro. So I remember I'm like, okay, this is really weird, but you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. Because no one has footage of me and my massive eggplant and basically me doing the Devil's Tango with her own damn daughter. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna let that slide. So I remember I ended up getting my vehicle and I ended up going to meet with her. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of prepared myself and put a knife on my back pocket. Guys, don't carry knives, don't carry weapons. It's not a good idea, but you never know what's gonna happen in these situations. And I remember I walked up to the doorstep and rang the doorbell. But before I could ring it, she actually answered the door and said, hey, like, you're finally back. Welcome. I was kind of like, you know, like looking at her and I'm like, hey, we need to talk, okay? Because this is getting way out of hand. And I'm gonna be honest, like, we shouldn't even have this situation happen to us. She ends up saying, oh, just come in. We can talk all about it over tea. Yeah, right. We were not gonna drink tea. She wanted some, you know, Devil's Tango. But I walked in anyway. I walked in and I sat down on the couch with her and we ended up talking. We're like, you know, I told her, hey, so your daughter told me that you had the footage of me and her doing the Devil's Tango. And I would really like you if you just deleted it. Because honestly, it's not cool to have that. I don't even know if it's legal for you to have that. She ends up looking at me. She's like, of course it's legal. Like, it's clearly that you enjoyed it. And she turned on the TV and it was literally the footage. It was literally the footage of me and her doing the Devil's Tango. So I remember I ended up grabbing the TV remote off her hand and I literally turned off the TV and I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Because at this point, this is making me sick. She ends up looking at me and she ends up walking up to me and she's putting my chest on her chest and she's like, I think you know what I want. And as she does that, she puts her hand up my thigh and grabs my eggplant. Now, guys, if this doesn't say run, I don't know what does. So I remember I looked at her and I'm like, okay, you know what? There's only one thing I can do. I looked at her and I said, can I use the bathroom? Yeah, I literally did say that. Well, I don't know what you guys were expecting me to do. No, I wasn't going to do the Devil's Tango with her mom. There was no way I'm letting that happen, guys. Even though I do a lot of crazy things and do a lot of the Devil's Tango in the real world out there, I'm not doing it with a full-grown mother, okay? Like, especially one that's on the hub. So I remember what I ended up doing was I ended up actually going to the bathroom. When I did, I developed a plan. I developed a plan to get out of there safely and make sure I got away with that tape. Knowing the tape was already inside the USB drive connected to the playable TV thingy or whatever it's called. I think it's called like a VCR or something. I don't know. But knowing it was connected to that, I remember I had a way to get out of there and grab it and leave, hoping that was the only copy. I mean, if it wasn't, then I don't know. I could be probably on the hub somewhere right now and I wouldn't even know. But going on, I remember I developed a plan. So what I did was I went back downstairs and I played along. I walked up to her. I walked up close to her. And I won't lie to you guys, I did end up making out with her. I made out with her. I pushed her on the couch. And when she was pushed on the couch, she was expecting me to hop on with her to do the Devil's Tango. But I took a different route. I instantly turned around. I grabbed the USB drive and I sprinted out of the house. As I was sprinting out of the house, I remember the mom was like chasing after me, but knowing she was in high heels, there was no way she could catch me. I ran out of the house. I jumped to my car and I remember she was slamming her like hands on my window as if she was gonna break my damn window. And I remember I drove out of there instantly. Like I booted it. I remember when I booted, I was driving so fast to the point where I was like panicking. And I remember I got the USB drive, thankfully. And when I did, I remember I ended up going home. I ended up putting the USB drive onto my computer that I had at home. And I opened it, watched it one last time because I'm not gonna lie, it was actually kind of hot to see. Like if you guys did end up, you know, seeing that video, like damn, it was actually pretty cool. And then I ended up deleting it. I deleted the video and I made sure that it didn't exist anymore in this world. Honestly, I felt so much relief after that. Knowing I've been through all that was insane. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking, oh, like why didn't you just call the cops? Like don't be so weird and dumb, Baba. And you guys are right. I could have called the cops. But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Back when I was a kid, I wasn't a fan of cops. No one was. Hell, I remember half of my school was always, you know, saying like F12 gangs, you know, talking all that weird stuff. And me, I was never a fan of them. So I didn't call the cops. But other than that, that is basically it for the end of the story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm happy to finally end the series off. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys.